Hello and welcome everyone in another episode of Researcher Celebrity. Today we have Dr. RamVinay Pandey with us as our celebrity and a brief introduction of Dr. Pandey. Dr. Pandey has done his bachelor's in life sciences from Gorakhpur University and master's in bioinformatics from Jamia Millia Islamia University, New Delhi. Then for his PhD, he moved to Austria and did his PhD at Austrian Institute of Technology. And for postdoc, he attended Karolinska Institute in Sweden. Currently, he is a senior scientist at Medical University of Vienna. With this brief introduction, I would welcome Dr. RamVinay Pandey by saying thank you so much for taking time out for this conversation.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm looking forward for that.
We always start our conversations that how and when you decided that you want to become a researcher.
That's very good question. I come from a village background, from Gorakhpur. So I did my schooling in science, and then I did my bachelor's also in science. And after that, I thought that I should move for higher education to Delhi or somewhere where I can get more exposure to national level and also eventually for the international level. So for that, I applied for my master's in at Jamia Millia Islamia. And there actually I got quite some exposure and understanding because the head of the department was very experienced professor. He had worked in several countries, including Saudi Arabia, in UK, in Australia, and then he was motivating a lot to us that you should look beyond the boundary. And that was the time when bioinformatics was not having so much opportunity in India. And that was another reason why many of us from my batch wanted to, either going for PhD abroad or going for the job abroad. So that's where we got inspiration and idea.
So that's a great point. Starting from your journey from village to New Delhi, like one of the biggest metropolitan city in India. So let's start with science part of it. When you moved from Gorakhpur to Delhi, in terms of science, what were the basic changes you have seen?
So at Gorakhpur University, so it was the bachelor course was more like traditional science. We were studying the fixed geology, botany, and chemistry. But then when I started at Jamia University in my master course, then I saw the applied aspect of the science and more into the translational side. How can we apply the science which we have learned in our bachelor courses? How can it actually be implemented or applied in the real world? That is what we have learned during our master's course. The second thing which we have got opportunity to have more practical hands-on. So in at Gorakhpur University, we were mostly doing the theoretical study. Of course, there was some experiments and practical part, but the real exposure we have got at Jamia Millia Islamia University. Yes.
Absolutely. So this is for all the future researchers or the students who are curious, curiosity driven and want to pursue their career in science, that whenever you are looking for universities for your courses, look for the one where you can actually get hands on, as Dr. Ram mentioned about now the science is driven more translational part. Everyone wants to say that okay, how you can apply your science and then how you can come up with those things in this fast paced science community. If you are trained, your training is at even at early age, if you can start hands on skill set, if you can develop, that's when you make sure that your future path is going to be a little bit easier. Speaking of which, from masters to PhD, from Jamia to Austria, how was that transition in terms of science? And then here we will add another level of complexity, which is the cultural difference.
Yes. So I just want to underline one thing. So starting from a remote village via Gorakhpur to Delhi and via Austria, I think it was a very amazing journey, I would say. And the only reason for that, of course, hard work is always there, but uh, I had a very strong support from my parents, and they were also very ambitious in a way that they, from the beginning, somehow they had in their mind that he can do something. Of course, they did not know what I can do, but they had like confidence and trust, and that was exactly translated with a long journey. And it's, in my opinion, this is not a very usual journey, for simple reason. 20 years ago, we did not have so much facilities, especially in the remote areas. I remember when without electricity we were studying at our village. So yes, so it was very inspiring. But from the Jamia, as I said, the professor, the head of the department, he was the true inspiration, and he built the confidence that you people can try and you can be a global scientist at some stage. And that is what we have realized. Many of my colleagues have uh, achieved this. Some have gone to UK, Germany, and other countries for PhD and for the job. So AIT was a very interesting idea actually, because I had opportunity from UK and Australia. But why I chose to come to AIT, because from the friends, and also I read little bit about the countries where one can see the long perspective, and Austria is one of the country in the Central Europe which is very beautiful, and also at some place where one can think of to stay longer. I mean, the next level of life settlement. So, and also AIT has a very good reputation. It exactly provides the platform where you can connect your skill and your education directly with the industry.
Mhm.
So that's how I have applied, and I got this opportunity for my PhD, and then the rest is the story. Yeah.
So when you applied and you got selected, now the first few months of you in Austria from India, how were they in terms of, like, settling in there? Because obviously you know your science, that's why you have been selected, and this is something which we bring in these conversations to give this overview to the next generation enthusiasts, either for their PhD when they are trying to move out of India, or even for postdocs, that what are the things they should consider before going.
Austria, I mean, there is one barrier like the language barrier. So, Austria, the national language is German, but in science and technology, that is not a big problem. In this field, I think the universities and institutes are looking for international talent, and they are facilitating a lot in comparison to other jobs. So I would say still it's not difficult to come as a researcher or come as a PhD student. And all the universities, since I'm here almost 17 years, I'm here. I see the growth, how the Indian students are coming more and more every year here in Vienna or in Austria in general. The simple reason is universities have also adopted their curriculum, their language of the instructions in English, and they are also basically facilitating the process that Indian student can come. And one thing I can tell that we as an Indian have a very positive impression here everywhere, uh, for the simple reason that everyone understands that we are a very hardworking people. We are committed for the work, and we are always ambitious, mostly to achieve our target. So this all together have created a very positive environment in Austria, which I have witnessed in last 17 years. When I remember when I came in 2008. Um, I was on road. I can see very few Indians here and there, but now that number has changed drastically. And every year, not only for PhD or postdoc, but also for masters, a lot of Indian students are coming now. So now I think Austria is one of the favorite destination for the students. On top of that, Austria provides a very good social security system and a very good work life balance. Whether it's a PhD student, of course there is a pressure to perform, but it's still there is a good labor market conditions, and government has a very good control that one cannot exploit anyone, whether it's a student or it's postdoc. So it's very good to balance the life.
Now, this is very important and brings us to the next topic, which is one of the toughest and trickiest one whenever it comes for researchers and maintaining their work-life balance. Yes, people do know, they see that Europe has better work-life balance, but what you have lived, if you can now share your PhD experience, those number of years, how did that go?
So I think the PhD, I think most of PhD students will agree that this is the one of the toughest part, basically because you have pressure to attend the courses to get the credits. At the same time, you have to make good progress on the project. And PhD in is not just about the degree, but it's actually your real work, a kind of semi-independent work that you can perform some real things and you can publish it in the internationally reviewed journal. And without that, I think most of the university do not allow you to defend your PhD. So it's a first international challenge for any PhD student to perform at a very international level. Yeah, because the reviewers, when you submit a manuscript for your PhD thesis, that will be reviewed by the top experts who are internationally renowned, and then you have to pass that criteria. So I think you have a lot of pressure, whether you are told or not, but you as a PhD student always feel that. And I remember many times working late evening, going early morning, sometimes going on the weekend. So without anyone tells to do so, PhD students are doing that. So there is no fixed time frame for PhD life.
So, how do you say that? What are the key points which any PhD student in most of the European countries should, you know, establish way before starting it? Like how they can have a good work-life balance.
I think the organizational skill is the key for that. I mean, what I can tell from my side, if you can plan your day today for next day, I think that helps a lot. So, as I said, you have multiple tasks to perform in at same time, and the only thing can help you is your best organizational skill. How can you manage your time and how you can plan in advance? That is what it will help. At the same time, you should be very clear about your idea, and you should very closely uh, discuss your problems very often with your supervisor, because he or she can help you without losing too much time, and make sure that you have a good connection with your supervisor so that you feel comfortable and confident to reach whenever you want. In my experience, I think there are few things which you cannot handle yourself. It, still you are spending days and days. That's where you should reach out to your supervisor as quick as possible. The third thing is also build your good, healthy relationship with your lab members, because they are already there and they can also help in a very friendly manner. So altogether, it should work, and then you will be actually doing the best possible which you can do.
Absolutely. I think supervisor approachability, like the PhD supervisor, if you can approach them, that is also one of the points which we discuss in this conversation, that even before deciding the lab for PhD, this
Mm-hmm.
should be your deciding factor, that is the supervisor available there? Are they there to support you, or they are there only to guide you, or to they have a roadmap for your PhD? They which you can just follow as in milestones and then accomplish that. And every lab has different way of operations. That's how we see. And I think the point which you start with, for all the students, organizational skills are to, like, they are the foundation of any research in general. But PhD, it becomes even more important because this is the time when you are getting trained. Whatever training you'll get here will probably shape up your future career. So now, if I'll say that, okay, during all those tough times during PhD, have you ever thought of quitting PhD? And then I'll tell you why we ask these questions.
Luckily not, but I know many of students who have actually quitted, and the reason was obviously the lab environment and ultimately the equation with the supervisor. Uh, if you are lucky, that happens accidentally in a good way, but I would recommend every PhD student that do not be desperate to join any lab because it's your very decisive moment for your rest of your career. Be very practical. Ask the tough questions directly during the interview to the professor, or try to reach out to the lab members. Try to find out in a direct or indirect way whether this lab is good for you. Also, the most important thing is you need to know that how productive is the lab in general or the professor. If professor is ambitious, if professor is productive, if professor has a lot of scientific achievement, then that will already set a stage for you to achieve. Only you have to just flow in the same direction. But I know many incidents I can quote, but one was because the professor was not productive. I mean, uh, he has already achieved in his life, and he has no more ambition. But he, as a student, has started his journey as a future PhD or scientist, and that didn't work at the end, and he quitted, and then he found the other PhD position. But that didn't happen with me. Luckily, my professor was very good, yeah, all over, and that's one reason why I'm still working with him on different project in collaboration. And wherever I need a scientific support, he is always there to support. So it's I would say a very fortunate situation for me.
No, absolutely. And I think in uh, current time when we do talk about networking and how important it is, having this established relationship with your PhD mentor, supervisor, this is so important, not only for your immediate, but as Dr. Ram mentioned, it is even for future. If you have established a good relationship with your PhD supervisor, they are there to support you apart from having just reference letters from them. It is like the way that you can be collaborators at one day, as Dr. Ram is already doing this. But one more important part is like you are building this community. And if you have a good, healthy relationship with your peers, with your lab people, because they are the one who are going to spread in the same community in different part of world. So if you are dealing or taking these steps very judiciously, you are going to help the capacity building of researchers globally, which is very important. And now we come to the next part, that after the award of PhD, what were the things which you were deciding that, okay, now you have learned all what it takes to become an independent scientist. So the things which you considered that, okay, now I am graduated, what should I do next? When you started thinking about it.
Yeah, so that's again a defining moment for any PhD student because there are two possibilities. Either one would like to continue as a postdoc, or one want to directly go for a job, particularly in the industry, because most of the industry job do not require a postdoc training. But as a PhD student, I was that time clear that I have to go into the academic career path, and then I decided that I will go for postdoc. Doesn't matter how long I will do, but I will also take a formal postdoc training, And that's another opportunity to work at a higher level with your experienced supervisor, that you closely learn how to become a future team leader, or how to become future professor, assistant professor, whatsoever. Because that time you learn two things: one, how to manage a team, and two, how to manage multiple projects. Because if you cannot do these two things, then probably you cannot translate yourself, transform yourself from dependent researcher to independent researcher. So that's where you switch your role slowly. So I have got many interviews, and actually I had several possibilities for postdoc, but I chose to go at Karolinska Institute because of two, three reasons. First, the professor was fantastic. He is a very good person, and I was again lucky. Then I have a long-standing collaboration and close connection with my postdoc supervisor at Karolinska Institute. Second, Karolinska Institute is the one which gives the Nobel Prize in medicine. So it is a very prestigious institute across the globe. And third, it was the project, and the project is also very important on that you are going to work, whether that will connect you with rest of the real world problem, or you are just ending up with a publication that does not help. I know many researchers have a very high publication record and very high impact journal publication, but those papers are not cited because they are not translating in a real world problem. So these are the three reasons why I decided to go to Karolinska Institute. And then I have worked on many immune related disease. One is primary immune deficiency, and then also a couple of other disease, IBD, and so on. And I got many high quality publication from Karolinska Institute. And then I came back to Vienna because somehow Vienna was by that time my hometown, like second hometown. And yeah, I mean, then I came back to Medical University of Vienna, and since then I'm here. I came as a senior postdoc back, and then I wrote my own funding application. I had my own idea, and then I got funding, couple of fundings, and at the end I have my own independent group and project. So now I'm funding myself, not only for my position but also taking care of the projects which I'm handling.
Absolutely.
So
And these are the important points, as you mentioned, from a dependent researcher to becoming independent. Postdoc plays an important role. But then again, it depends. Like if you want to be in academia or want to go to industry, things changes. One thing which is more important you brought to the table here is like when you are clear that what you really want to do with your degree, either
yeah.
you want to be more in the fundamental research or you are looking for something which is so translational that you can either develop a service or a product and then help the society. Because since forever researchers are very important part of community, either it is building or it is helping them or coming up with the solutions for long time as well as for immediate crisis. So now when if we'll say that okay, stress is very integral part of research, based on your experience, what will you suggest that for a short duration, like say for a PhD student, for a postdoc, and then early career fellow, how these at different stages the level of stress changes?
So as I said, PhD phase is the most stressful part of this all you have listed out. But postdoc is the next one, but of course not that much, because that time you are not waiting for a degree. You are kind of already independent, because you have finished your formal highest degree as a PhD, and now you are like a researcher, or yeah, you have a job actually, technically. But the postdoc is also, in a way, you are in a peer pressure because in science it's all about how good your visibility is in terms of science. So how good publication you are writing, how good funding you are, part of the funding application you are, and how you are performing, and being more productive. So the pressure is always there, but it's a different type of pressure. It's not like a deal breaker or deal maker at postdoc, unlike PhD, but still there is a pressure, because the next level will always already in your mind that okay, after 2 years or 3 years of postdoc, what is next? So either again you will decide to go into the industry, or you continue to the next step of your career in academic career. So then you will apply as a group leader or as assistant professor. Again, you are in a pressure that which university I should land as a professor or as a group leader, because then you that university or research institute environment will basically help you how successful you will be in your near future. So
Absolutely.
as a postdoc also you have the pressure for the next level. Yes.
So, about this stresses, pressures, and all of those, how is the, like, based on your experience, the role of support systems?
Support of which
Like,
support?
support system, like it can be your friends, as you mentioned briefly. Like, now we want to highlight on that, like your lab environment, your friends outside your lab, or the people who are actively in research. Sometimes when you are facing bottleneck, how you look for those and the troubleshooting then you do.
Yes, so the communication is very instrumental here. So do not wait or do not shy to share your problems, whether it's scientific or it's related to you are feeling so much pressure, or there is sometimes there is a toxic work environment. That's also unfortunately a reality for some labs. So networking is always helping. So talk to your friends who are also in the research field or in a similar field, but also discuss with your families. That's also important, that they can give you an advice, but also the confidence that if it is difficult for you, take a call, whether you change your job or talk to your supervisor, whatever can help you. But do not keep yourself, because that's like you are suffering alone, and not sharing. If you share, then you find, most of the time you find a solution.
Mhm.
But as I said, in any such job, whether it's PhD or postdoc, having a good connection with your supervisor is very effective and very helpful. I can tell you my experience uh, after my PhD, second time for my postdoc, I was very lucky to have a professor. He was very calm and very friendly. He always tell that you should first think about your career, what is good for your career. Don't worry about my project, whether you might be fit for my project now, but it might not be good for your career in future. So for you, the priority should be work, but more priority should be your career. So you come up with your idea. If you think that the project for which I have hired you, it's not aligning with your career goal, come up with new idea. We will write a new project. We will go for the new direction in a given framework. Of course, one cannot change 90-degree, but if professor is very broad minded and he is a true researcher, then he will ask, as my professor was asking, that Ram, look about your career perspective and come up with some idea if you have. So
Absolutely, I think this is
that's
important.
yeah, that's very important.
So now we come to, like, through going through all this stress, troubleshooting, and the support systems, how the researchers can ensure to have a good health, like mental health, because now either it is for PhD students or even in professors, what have been seen, that mental health of researchers is affected, and now in different platforms, People started talking about it, acknowledging it. So, based on your experience, what you have seen in different countries, and what you can suggest that how the researchers should make sure that whatever happens in the lab, they can try to get least affected by all those negative results.
Yeah, so there is a very thin line between stress and the work pressure. So work pressure is good, but don't let it convert into the stress, because stress is something health related problem, and that build up slowly over the time. It doesn't affect immediately, but you don't even realize how your workload or work pressure has slowly translated into the stress and mental health status. For that, one has to make sure that give time for yourself, irrespective of whatever work you have, how much work you have. Give a good time to sleep, have a good sleep in night, and also get away of this all the work, because one has to realize that you cannot do all things together. You need time. And especially in Europe, I have seen that professors are very reasonable, with some exception, and they do understand a particular task will take how much time. So there is not a big gap in the reality and the expectation in Europe, at least. So try to manage that gap, if it is a little bit or if it is big gap. But in any case, do not compromise with your physical health. Try to be a bit active, physically active. On weekend, definitely go for with your friends and take time for some entertainment, or going outside, just to plus out the weekly mental stress. If you do it with a regular routine, regular interval, and with routine, I think that helps a lot. Because if you are fresh till Sunday, then you go with a fresh mind on Monday in lab, and then you work rest of the week. But if you have also worked on the Saturday and Sunday, then you have literally engaged yourself for 2 weeks, or maybe I don't know how many weeks continuously. So break the cycle. That's very important. Come with a fresh energy on every Monday, and leave everything by end of the weekend. Go for yourself, go for some outing, depends on your habit. If you are nature lovers, go to the nature, biking, hiking, or some other physical activity with your friends or alone, or if you have a family. But definitely need to break the weekly cycle of the work. That's very important.
Absolutely. And I think this is what we do talk about, that burnouts in researcher is a real thing.
Yeah.
And as Dr. Ram mentioned, if you have your way of rejuvenation, like you go, if you are a nature lover, you go hiking, biking, you get all that stress flushed out of your system, and then you're rejuvenated, you're freshly prepared for the coming week, semester, whatever you are going through the system. But it is way more important, because that often has been seen and reported also, that you were breaking your head for something couple of years, or sometimes and then just having a conversation with your friend or a collaborator that, hey, I'm facing this problem, this issue, and then you have the solution then and there only. But all of this comes when you are ready to share your I will say either the troubles or the problems or the hurdles with people you believe in. Because another part of researcher is, I don't know how wide it is, but there are people think, oh, they will steal my ideas. No one can steal your brain. Yes, the ideas might or might not get affected, but that is another conversation. But you are facing some challenges. It is your responsibility to look for solutions. Sometimes it is just a conversation with your collaborator. Sometimes it is you spending time with yourself in outside the work pressure, like outside the workplace, as Dr. Ram mentioned. If you are in nature, you are a nature lover, sitting in a stream, and then like, wait, that was not working for this reason. And then you have the solution by yourself there only. But this all happens when you disconnect, when you plug out yourself from that daily routine. You take these times so that now you are rejuvenated and you're like, okay, now I'm fresh. You have your solutions. Now everything is working. It is your responsibility that you are sharing that with your friends, families, or wherever you feel like. Now, bringing to the last phase of these conversations, Dr. Ram, what was the thing which kept you going above all these stress, all those timelines, deadlines, either it is publication or funding? It brings all the stress, but still you are enjoying your research. So, what is the, or no, if not one, what are the more things which kept you going on and on and on?
So that's very interesting topic, and probably I will take a bit more time. So first of all, Uh, as I mentioned, I come from a very humble background, from a village, and whatever I achieve, I feel very satisfactory. So I'm very happy and grateful to my parents and to God that what I have achieved coming from such background, it's already, uh, very satisfying for me. Having said that, I take work as a load, but not as a stress. Always, I don't remember even a single minute I was in stress. So I take work, yes, I enjoy it. I do multitasking, I work over hours, but the important thing is I do not take as a stress. It's not very easy, but again, it's somehow I was able to manage. Uh, I finished my day at the end that okay, whatever I could have done today, that was best I could have done. Let's do remaining my to-do list tomorrow, continue tomorrow morning. That's very important to have a break. You don't, even though if you keep thinking about all your to-do list, it's not very helpful because you have a limit how much you can work. But try to maximize your limit, try to optimize your limits, and then be happy what you have achieved at the end of the day. On my screen, you see two logo. I just wanted to mention from village to a student to a researcher, and now I am in a phase where I am working as an entrepreneur. So a project which I started at Medical University of Vienna, that was directly related to the patient. I will, if you may allow a couple of minutes, I can give you the background. Uh, I Since 2018, I was working on a secondary disease called graft versus host disease. And that disease occurs when the blood cancer patient receive the stem cell transplantation. Every second patient unfortunately receive this secondary complication called graft versus host disease. And when it occurs, then the life chance to survive is only 50% or less than 50%. So it's a very serious problem, health problem. I have worked with several patient groups in clinic, and then I realized that there should be a solution. This situation should be changed because we see a lot of people are dying because of this graft versus host disease. So the idea came that why don't we bring a diagnostic solution not to my hospital but also worldwide so they can predict the risk to the patient earlier and plan better how to treat and how to save more life. And last year I applied for the startup funding in Austria. I got the funding, first phase of funding, and then we have established this company called Next Generation Immunotherapeutics. So we are basically providing a AI based platform to the patient who are detected with the blood cancer, and they will go for stem cell transplantation. After the transplantation, our diagnostic solution can predict who can develop the secondary complication and who cannot develop the secondary complication. And then we are narrowing down the group who will develop has high risk, then their doctor can plan in advance their secondary treatment option. So that's how we can change a lot of mortality rate. And we are planning also to enter into the Indian market, but also elsewhere, because I come from India and now it's time to return to our motherland. What I have learned from the schooling until now, and then that's time to return to our motherland as a company, as a solution to the patient who are suffering with blood cancer.
Absolutely. No, I think this is very important, as you mentioned about even translation and giving back to the society. We wish you all the good luck and say to all the researchers that if you want to write to Dr. Ram, you can write to him. If you want STEM for Society, for you to putting in touch with our researcher celebrities, we are there to support you. What all we want from you is that you enjoy your research, and the if you're looking for networking opportunities, we are also going to start mentor mentee program also, if that helps you even more to get your research dreams accomplished. Just don't hesitate. With this, we'll say thank you so much, Dr. Ram, for sharing your journey and igniting new researchers and also providing them with the solutions. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.